postseason gets underway here at Bogle Park in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Game one of the day, the Indiana Hoosiers out of the Big Ten, the Oklahoma State Cowgirls from the Big 12. Double elimination format here in the postseason, so the winner of this game moves on to a winner's bracket game tomorrow for the third straight year, first time they've ever done that. And the Cowgirls day-to-day with an injury, so it's two freshmen over there on the left side of the infield for the Hoosiers. In the circle, Ruby Malin, her first year in Stillwater, unanimous all Big 12 first team, and a minuscule 1.61 ERA this year.
Well, we had a chance to talk to her, and she is fired up. I mean, she is the competitor and leads from the circle with this team. She's going to throw the ball hard, and she's going to move it north to south. She'll mix in her off speed every so often, but really has been effective going up and down.
So last game for Oklahoma State was in the Big 12 tournament. They were one and done. A 2-1 defeat at the hands of the Arizona State Sun Devils. It has been an 8-day hiatus between game action for them. Ready to get back to action, and Ruby Malin told us that the staff said, you've got to take a couple days off. Just rest, relax, let your body reset a little bit. Postseason gets underway with strike one to Bree Copeland, Indiana and Oklahoma State.
Well, she told us the 3 days that they actually forced her to take off was probably the most since last season, finishing up. So she feels rested and ready to go.
And also that she hated it. She hated being away from the game. That's how much of a competitor she is. Wanted to get back, refine her stuff, but in the build-up, in those 5 succeeding days leading up to today's action, heavy bullpens, 100+ pitches, just getting ready to go.
When you just get the feeling from her, she is such a workhorse, and so I think it is hard at times, and as coaches, you really got to make them step back, get that rest that you know mentally. It's not just the physical part of it, but also the mental side.
Head 1 and 2 on Copeland. Takes low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Four seniors on this Indiana squad. One of the last teams into the field with a 10th place finish in the Big Ten. Copeland takes the inside pitch, pops it up to Rosie Davis, and she lost it in the sun. And Copeland is aboard to start the afternoon for IU.
Well, that's where you are thankful you are on base. Great pitch by Malin, and just jamming Copeland on the inside, but there was no shot for Davis, and in that situation, it's really hard because she was pulled up the middle. A little further back, right fielder Warsaw might have had a chance.
So it just goes down as a shallow single for Bree Copeland and brings up Taylor Minnick with a .470 average. One of the most difficult hitters to retire in the country. Minnick this year, all Big Ten first team for the second time. Not only .470 on the year, but .433 within the league. So led the Big Ten with 24 doubles. 3 big numbers for the Hoosiers. Led the nation on base, in average, and doubles per game. And this is given a ride out to right field, and Minnick gives the Hoosiers a 2-0 lead at the top of the first. Welcome to the postseason.
An ally has been slain.
We talked about the offense of the Hoosiers, and Taylor Minnick, she is the reason we highlighted. This ball is elevated on the outside corner, but we see Minnick go out, reach, and pull that ball to right field. You cannot allow them to get to extension. What a swing. Way to just answer right there. First inning for Taylor Minnick. Well, Malin talked about the loss to ASU, that there were 2 pitches she wished she could have taken them. She said, I can't though, so I'm gonna learn from it, I'm gonna move on. And honestly, that pitch was not one that I think she did not pipe it. It was up, it was out of the zone, maybe not a lot of break on it, but again, you can't make mistakes when you're facing the hottest hitting team.
That is what the Hoosiers have touted it on themselves. Of course, everybody comes in, you've made the postseason out of a field of more than 300 Division I teams, only 64 get to this point, so everybody feels good about getting here. They truly feel like there are no gaps in this lineup 1 through 9.
They feel like they've been tested. They feel like they've come up in big moments. They lost to UCLA, but they still put up 4 runs. So they feel like, okay, we just didn't get that one extra. And so for them, I mean, it's not just talk. I mean, they truly are. Confidence is such a big part of this game.
Kinsey Mitchell, roller, and Davis turns in and out number 2.
They say you learn a lot from a beating. If that's true, I've made the
It'll
whole
be Allie Van Brandt, sophomore from Ottawa Lake, Michigan. The Ohio runner out Toledo way. 374 hitters. So yes, 4 hitters at 400 or better.
everyone loses.
But you don't get to be the nation's best hitting team without players who are also a great supporting cast that are just under that. We talk to them, and you meet the different teams. They all have different personalities and culture and mindset. But I'll tell you, with Indiana, athletes we talked to, Copeland and Minnick, they were serious. You could tell they're like on a mission, and I said you could kind of feel the intensity and almost the urgency that they had. You got the senior class, and we've seen 3 of them, Copeland, Minnick, and Kinsey Mitchell, who just grounded out, knowing, hey, it's the last go around here. And so they've made the postseason now for the 3rd straight year. Last year, they were 0-2 in regionals. 2 years ago, they won 1 game when they got sent to Knoxville, Tennessee. And that was a big year because it was the first time they had made the postseason in 12 years. Now that's all in the past. It's not, okay, we're excited to be here. But Shonda Stanton is saying, we're building something, and this is a continuation of that.
And she said these seniors, they're the ones that are getting it done. She just, use the word gold standard, and they are the gold standard. They set it, and these other younger athletes, they're a mix of that. They follow.
Right back to the circle, and Malin takes care of business after a tumble out of the gates. With Bree Copeland, a pop-up to second base.
You might look on paper, the numbers go down, but you cannot count. And I know talking to the other coaches, they know that as well. Every time you're out on that field trying to get them out, that it's not going to be easy. And we'll see how they respond to the first inning, but again, a down year doesn't mean anything as long as we finish on top at the end.
Let's take a look at the Oklahoma State starting lineup presented by Capital One. We mentioned Texas Tech had 1 big addition. Maybe the biggest addition to this team outside of Ruby Malin has been Megan Delgadillo at the top. Started her career at Cal State Fullerton and got 1 more year of eligibility from the NCAA, and she has burst onto the scene with Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and when people look at stats, you're going to see speed, you're going to see her getting on base, she finds a way to move and to come across and score, but what they're not seeing is just who she brings into as a leader. I mean, this team absolutely looks for her.
I think the story is true for both of these teams. They rely heavily on their #1 starting pitcher. That's the story for Bree Copeland. Not only at the top of the lineup, but the top of the pitcher.
And I love that she's a 2-way player, because I think when she gets in the circle, it just means that much more to her. She's also going to throw in high 60, and she's going to mix it up. She has all the pitches. She needs to really make sure, though, today the key for her, and Coach Shonda Stanton told us this, is going to be able to keep her change low and to throw it when they need it.
There's a challenge in keeping Delgadillo off the base paths. 329 average. Also 33 of 40 in stolen base tries last year. And 2024 got the NFCA Golden Shoe Award for the best base stealer in the sport. She swiped 44 bags. It is a quick first at bat. Delgadillo is down looking.
Well, Bree Copeland is not messing around. Delgadillo thinking that pitch was outside and elevated, and I mean, I might agree with her, but I think with 2 strikes in this situation, the strike zone hasn't been established yet. You're not sure what's going to be called right now. You got to foul that pitch off.
Catcher Amanda Hassler, first team all Big 12 this season. One big thing that has been different from the 2024 Cowgirls team to 2025 is a dip in power numbers. Because last year they had 5 players with 10 or more, and this year she's the only one above 10. But hits it on the ground to Streeter. And It's 2 up and 2 down in short order for Bree Copeland.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that left side with Strader, who's been at third base this year, most of the year for the Hoosiers, and making that move on. You know, it's really more than anything, just the depth and being able to play it off the right way. You got to have a little more range at shortstop.
Strader was the starter there until mid-March. He moves things around. There is Rosie Davis. He runs batted in. Into foul territory. Out of reach.
Well, on that right side is really bad. So if you are a hitter and you put anything in the air on that side, you got to be thinking just the way that Bird was reacting to that ball. You kind of saw the same thing that happened with that.
What might be a pop-up shallow on the infield into 2 bases. Misses with a drop, 2-1.
You know, one of the things Coach Stanton said to us was just, you know, sometimes it takes Copeland a little bit of time to settle in, and I think right now we just see her really wide hitters. She said she always settles in. Sometimes it's just you're not sure what to do.
Enemy double kill.
I think sometimes as athletes, like we talked to the athletes yesterday, right, Mike? And everyone, you know, they had all the right words, right? The mental part of the game, and we're feeling good and they're confident, and they are. That's why they're at this season or in this postseason. But there's still something that you got to keep your nerves calm when you actually get on that field and you're playing in the moment. That's a good job by Rosie Davis, making sure that on that pitch, although might have been a ball, you are not going to let any chance, if it's anywhere close, of being rung up.
An ally has been slain.
All men want to be.
Enemy killing spree.
We welcome you here to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Game 1 of this regional at Bogle Park. And another Big Ten team after we saw Michigan with that win over UCF. The Indiana Hoosiers and Oklahoma State Cowgirls. Bottom of the first inning. My cousins Leah Amico along with you. And the difference right now, the second batter of the game, Taylor Minnick with a 2-run home run. And Oklahoma State with a response. We are tied in the bottom of the first inning. Carly Godwin goes yard. It's even at 2 between Indiana and Oklahoma State. Ball is certainly flying today.
Well, all smiles right there for Carly Godwin, someone who is a leader on this team but has struggled when she has felt like she has not performed as well as she has liked. Misses a pitch up in the zone that she just keeps her barrel high, gets all of that straight away center, and that's something that I know Coach Guyette always talk to her. Hey, you're a leader when you're playing well, and even when you're not, we need you, and that's a big moment. She's someone stepping up when it counts.
Big swing from the sophomore. It's an equalizer. Back to square one in a game that has 2 tremendous pitchers. Bree Copeland, a 2-way pitcher. On the other side, for Oklahoma State, Ruby Malin, one of the best in the country, reinvigorated drop ball this year. 1-1 on Claire Tim, the number 5 hitter for Kitty Diastole. Stakes are high for both of these teams. Indiana reaching the postseason 2 years in a row. It's the first time they've ever done it. Oklahoma State there tonight. Straight trip to the NCAA tournament. Back to the World Series for the 6th straight year. The other side of this regional, Arkansas, number 4 national seed. Military of the Atlantic 10 with their strong experience in the NCAA tournament.
Things I love.
Chase of a 2-2. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Copeland at 10.
They say you learn a lot.
Ready, your
from a
second
beating.
full count of the first inning.
I've made the
This is
whole world
DeBurco right in front of the bag, and the inning is over. And that's where the Billikens are. Thank goodness for that, by the way, because their journey here yesterday was harrowing, or I should say 2 days ago. It should just be a 5.5-hour trip from their campus just west of downtown St. Louis, and it took 10 because their bus had air conditioning issues, which, by the way, never got fixed, and a tire blew out along the way. So what's a little 85-degree heat?
Yeah, they probably think this is nice. There's actually a breeze. they're enjoying it. And, you know, I think sometimes to be able to sit, although they are going to have to face the Razorbacks later tonight after this game, I think that sometimes it's nice to bore you before stepping onto that field. Just a big moment for their program.
Madeline Strader, the freshman from Cedar Park, Texas, leading off for the Hoosiers here in the second. Great athlete all around, played a year of varsity basketball in high school, and we talked about the change in the lineup today where Strader moves over to short. She was a middle infielder in high school, but for the better part of this season, she's been playing third base, but with an injury to the starting shortstop, Alex Cooper, who's day-to-day, it's a slight reconfiguration for that lineup.
Well, and I think, you know, you get to this part of the season and it's just next man up, and that's the idea. Obviously, you want everybody healthy, but you've been practicing all year long, and there's some people who don't get those starts who are ready to step in at a moment's notice like this, and so I think this is where you're like, okay, the fact that she had games early on helps.
Payoff pitch from Malin just misses inside, and it's ball 4. So of the first 6 batters to the plate, that's the third base runner. Shonda Stanton, an excellent job getting these Hoosiers to the postseason for a 3rd straight year. Formerly the head coach at Marshall for 18 seasons before coming to Indiana. Played her college softball at UNC Greensboro, was a 4-year starter there, and is turning this team into a force in the Big Ten. They finished 10th in the league this year, but with the number of teams that are in the league, you don't face the entirety of the league. It would just be impossible to do it. And so they got the teams that were in the top half of the league this year, and as you mentioned too, defeated Washington in the Big Ten tournament and then lost by only a run to UCLA.
Well, she talked about even changing a series and heading out to Texas Tech to make sure to get them on the schedule. So that's all part of the strategy as well, looking at postseason, knowing that's when it comes down to mattering the most to who you play and how you play.
Another freshman, Josie Bird, fouls away the first pitch. And one of the things that Coach Stanton looks for, she talked about, she wants players who are going to barrel up the ball, but I don't care what it looks like, she said. I just want to know that you're an athlete and we can mold you once you get to Bloomington.
Yeah, just the athletic player that has also, I think, the right mindset. Like you just see, because they are a program that is always known wherever she is, you know, now here in Indiana, just to run, to be able to hit the ball well and to be aggressive.
Well, the challenge today is going to be trying to hit the ball low in the zone against Ruby Malin, who really broke down her own game when she came from Seattle to Stillwater last summer, and then broke it down for us yesterday as we met with all the teams out on the women's basketball practice facility just beyond left field. And this is poked into the gap in right center field, and that is trouble. A one-hopper off the wall. It sends Strader headed to third. Stanton waves her home, and the throw to the plate. That flag, she is out at the plate with a tag from Hassler. That came right down to the wire, and it looks like Shonda Stanton wants this one to go under replay review. What a relay on a ball out laser to right center field. That could have given Indiana the lead, and instead it's an out.
The call at home plate of out is being challenged by Indiana.
That's our home plate umpire, Steve Gold, here in Fayetteville. And here in the postseason, it's a centralized replay review that goes to DV Sport in Pittsburgh. So the umpires here will get on the horn with them. The decision is made there and relayed back to here, but that was as close as you can get at the plate.
Well, this is why it's so important to be able to field the ball cleanly, to be able to hit your cut, and really just a perfect play by Doug Adio, and then to second baseman Davis with really a perfect throw home. That defensively is exactly how you execute this play, and I think they're just wondering, Coach Stanton is wondering, did she get the tag on before Strader was able to get her hand to the plate?
Boy, it almost looks simultaneous.
Yeah, and that's as close as it is going to get.
Well, there's so many things that have to go right for that ball to get there on time. Like you said, Delgadillo's got to be getting to the ball. Davis has to be in good position. The relay throw has to be tremendous. And then Hassler does a phenomenal job that can go unnoticed on a play like this of not obstructing the plate either. She's out in front of the plate and has to reach behind to be able to make that tag.
Yeah, really great execution defensively. I don't think they could have done it any better. And it takes that. You get to postseason, every single play is going to matter and is going to count. And these are the examples. This game just started. I mean, we talked about these two teams. We were so excited to see them compete.
I don't care.
And we've got a decision. We'll hear it from Steve Gold. It was out at the plate.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. We have an out.
So I think the difficulty there from the Indiana side is that the call was out on the field, and by the letter of the law, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn it. Didn't look like that existed.
Yeah, I think that is the difference, like, unless it is clear and, like you mentioned, indisputable, and I don't think you can. It was just such a bang-bang play. But that's as close as it is going to get, I tell you, you know. And I think as a coach, if you're Coach Stanton, you got to, right? You don't know how many of those opportunities are going to come for you.
Right, the fact that your team scored 2 in the first 2 batters against one of the best pitchers in the country, take those chances where you can get them. Now, it's not an all bad outcome because they still end up with the freshman Josie Bird at second base. You got a runner in scoring position with just 1 out.
Yeah, but I think this is a perfect example. There are nobody out, and Malin got on base, and then Bird hits that. They could have had runners on second and third right now with nobody out, right, in this part of the lineup coming up. But these are the chances Coach Stanton, you know she's going to take. They're known for being a running team.
Pinch runner at second base is Cassidy Kettleman as Sydney Burko comes to the plate. You saw that ball go into the outfield. It was smashed. Did you think that there was going to be a play at the plate, or that it was just going to end up, like you said, second and third?
Yeah, I think generally people will end up second and third, nobody out, but not when it's Coach Stanton. And ultimately, we just saw, right, one little mishap, and she is safe on that. That was such a cute, a close play, and it was just a perfect execution defensively.
When all you can say sometimes is touche and a tip of the cap to the defense. 0-1 to Burko. It's in on the hands and fouled out of play. They changed the lineup. Burko making her first start since the 3rd week of March. Let's see if she can rise to the occasion here this afternoon. But before that ball hit to the right center field gap, we were getting into Ruby Malin telling us about her new and improved drop ball and the work that she's done with pitching coach Carrie Everly since arriving to campus less than a year ago. The big number, she said, is that the drop on her drop ball went from 3 inches to 10 inches.
Talked about the wrap solar being a big part of showing her how and why that was happening. And she said how she did not like it. She didn't do it at her last program in Washington and just really didn't want to, she said even. And then when she started doing it now, she says, I'm obsessed. Her own words, I'm obsessed with it now. I want to see what else I can do with it.
Competitive even against her own numbers, which tells you how good she is, even after she didn't want to take 3 days off after the Big 12 tournament.
Well, she really credits pitching coach Carrie Everly for just being so masterful and really helping her, she feels like, reach another level in her ability as a pitcher.
One of the big things that she said that she changed with her drop is just keeping her arm more loose and then allowing that ball to roll off her fingertips, essentially tumble down toward the batter. And I don't know how much it comes across on TV. She's tall. She is 6 feet tall, far right of the bell curve. One hopper out to second base. There are 2 away. You won't find many players taller than her. And so what that gives her is long levers, and her release is closer to the plate than most pitchers too, less reaction time for the hitters.
Yeah, and really it is a visual, but we're seeing right now with Indiana, these hitters, like, they're not fazed by it at all. They are coming up, they are taking their hacks, they're swinging. But it is different than facing a pitcher that's 5'7" out there, even if they are explosive off the mound.
Here's a redshirt junior, Melina Wilkeson. As fast as they come on this team. And a former Ohio State Buckeye who grew up just 90 minutes from IU's campus and spent 2 seasons on the field at Ohio State in 2022 and 2023. And last year, an injury, medical redshirt after playing in just 5 games. She's had a great career already. Big Ten All-Freshman team in 22. And in 2023 was first team All Big Ten. All the circumstances converged for her to make the move back to the flagship school of her home state. A year away from the game, a coaching change as well. Now here in the postseason.
On top this time, no matter what.
A slight deviation from the intended path for Oklahoma State, as that number looms large for them. 12 trips to Oklahoma City without taking home a championship. And this year is their first time since 2018 playing in a regional away from home. History has a funny way of repeating itself, because the last time they played on the road in the postseason was here in the regional round. 5 straight trips to Oklahoma City. The only other active streak to match that right now is Oklahoma, which has been 8 straight years. Right underneath the hood of that number is that they've won the last 4 national championships.
Yeah, that's just been standing in the way a little bit. And like you said, this road will be a little different this year, maybe a little tougher. But I tell you what, if they are able to advance and get to Oklahoma City, they will be road tested, battle tested, and it will be a different feel for them.
Colin Edwards leads it off and takes a 2-1, lines it straight away center field for the first out. Well, speaking of the Women's College World Series, it returns in just a couple of weeks to Oklahoma City. The action starts Thursday, May 29th, noon Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2025 Women's College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 9 NCAA championships. Number 7 hitter, Tia Warsa. She'll bunt her way aboard, she'll swing her way aboard, and she'll steal once she's on base too. Second team all Big 12. Last year had just 30 at-bats. So stepping into a much bigger role in year number 2 on campus.
Yeah, she just has a ton of speed, so really good back control and speed. And I think when you have that, your idea is just to get on top of the ball.
Third 3-ball count for Copeland, who walked 1 in the first. And Warsip will see at least 1 more pitch.
And that's one area when you look at the stats of Bree Copeland. She has 141 strikeouts coming to this game, but earlier that walk was her 113th of the season. And so I think as hitters, you want to make sure that you're being patient. Right now, that was a good location. Obviously, coming back with 2 strikes, you're going to hit anything close, but just knowing that she's a little outside the zone.
Warsip reaches for it. She's retired, 2 up and 2 down. It's not often you see the number 7 hitter in a lineup be their best average-wise at 358, so that's a big out to get there for Copeland, who after giving up the 2-run homer to Godwin last inning has retired 3 in a row. This is clear for Rachel Hathoot. Four-year starter at the University of New Mexico, was first team all Mountain West. Former infielder, now spotting up in the outfield for the Cowgirls. Tied at 2, a pair of 2-run homers. Carly Godwin for Oklahoma State, Taylor Minnick for Indiana. Down the line and just fouled.
We haven't really seen much of the off-speed mixed in yet by Copeland, and we'll see if they, second time through the lineup, choose to start mixing that in. I know that they said that in order to advance to this regional, that's going to be a key to her repertoire.
Two is a called third strike. And the inning is out of the Big 12, Indiana out of the Big 10. 2-run homers. Taylor Minnick for Indiana and Carly Godwin for Oklahoma State. And Ruby Malin, the starting pitcher for Oklahoma State here in the circle, throwing some pitches between innings.
Yeah, did you see the look on her face? She's a player that really wears her emotions on her sleeve. Very vocal. I mean, even without words, you can see what she's feeling. And we talked to her, you got that feeling, right, Mike? Like she was just talking to us. She's a lot of energy. She's exciting. You could tell she gets frustrated if she's not doing well. And I think it just comes down to that feel out of your hand when that ball is leaving it.
Time to start some trouble.
Just based on that look, something she didn't like. But no doubt that she'll continue to tweak that and work on it as the game goes along. And how many pitchers would wish in their wildest dreams to have her level of talent, but what her expectations are for herself is going to be higher than what anybody else's are.
Yeah, and I think it's good to get in the bullpen in between innings when you're feeling that way. You know, I think some people might just think, okay, like it's off right now, but to go in and say, hey, I'm going to try to figure it out, because I think the great pitchers, they do. They're able to make that little tweak and then it clicks again.
On the lineup here, Copeland and a bloop single to first or to second base her first time up. This time it's on the ground to Davis, who does not have to battle the sun, and puts it away. Taylor Minnick coming up. Now 17 home runs on the year after her at bat in the first.
Well, she is just such an exciting player to watch. I mean, she gets all of this pitch. And again, it's an outside pitch, but she is able to go, extend, and pull it to right field. So much power. I mean, she's just a fun player. On this team, she's a leader. She's someone that they look to.
It's not just the average that jumps out at you either. Yeah, 470, amazing. 5th in the country. but the slugging percentage 6th in the country at .973, and is 1 home run ahead of her teammate Bree Copeland for the IU program record now. So we said yesterday, I think this is a sign of the times of how far away this was. Said, you know what, this feels a little bit like a McGuire-Sosa race. I don't know that it connected.
No, I don't think so. But I'll tell you, they were all about just that competition between each other, and you love to see that because that's something they mentioned with their team, is just that we push each other to get better. And that's one of the things Coach Dan, she talks about being the CEO of the Rat Club. She's like, everyone wants to be in the Rat Club, right? Be a gym rat. But you want to actually be the president or the CEO of the Rat Club.
Yeah, it comes with good stock options, so I've heard.
And, you know, Shauna Stanton is one of those coaches who will use all that little terminology, right? And that's just, I think it's an easy way for players to really jump on board and be like, yes, we buy in, we believe that. And we've seen that she just continues to elevate their program.
There may be in the future a side business for IU softball for motivational t-shirts, posters. So we're talking with the team yesterday. They've all got the same warm-up t-shirt on. It's a short sleeve. And on the right, it says W.I.N, the day. So, well, what's that? 3-2, and it's a foul ball to plate. What's important now? Be in the moment. Man, you don't often get this in the softball postseason. A Winston Churchill either. So their phrase, thinking off a poster from the World War II from the government of the UK, keep calm and carry on. Their saying is keep calm and swing on. And that's how you get to be the nation's #1 hitting team. Oh, she's done it again! Taylor Minnick doubles up. 3-2 Hoosiers.
And if you want to advance in postseason, you have got to beat the best, and you've got to come with your best. We already talked about Malin feeling frustrated. We see the look on her face, but this situation, again, I mean, this is a missed pitch. This ball, this time they try to come inside, but it is belt high, and you cannot do that against a hitter like Minnick, one of the best in the entire country.
Did you just give a little Jordan shrug coming around second base? Ooh, the Hoosiers are feeling good.
Well, and we talked coming into this game about the drop ball by Ruby Malin, and I really believe when we're seeing that look on her face, it has to do with that. That ball is not breaking down.
Perhaps that's part of the frustration. Here it comes. Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? 2 home runs on the day, 18 on the year. And here's how difficult it is to go yard against Ruby Malin. During the regular season, a 196 ERA. She gave up 13 home runs all year, and here in 2 1/3, she's given up 4.
Yeah, and there's just different parts of the game. Obviously, there's the pitch calling, and you do your homework, and you really try to see what the weakness of the opponents are. I don't think that Taylor Minnick has any weaknesses, but then you got to be able to locate and execute the pitch as well.
Well, part of it, too, is Avery Parker goes down on strikes for Malin's first strikeout, is you can be the best hitter in the world, but you've got to wait for the mistake pitch to come your way. And when it does, you got to capitalize, because with a pitcher like Malin, there are not going to be many throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, I agree. And Taylor Minnick is one of those hitters that, I mean, for a good part of the season was hitting over 500. And Coach Stanton was thinking, okay, can she keep this up? And she did. And she dropped a little bit at the end of conference play, but really overall, we're seeing today why she's been almost a 500 hitter at this point still.
Time of year for Kinsey Mitchell, the senior, get a college degree. It's her birthday just 9 days ago, and hit a career best 400 this year, with her previous best 2 years ago. The first of their 3 straight trips to the postseason was 358. And on top of all that, her first 2 home runs of her career this season, which came in part because she got hurt last year and went from being a slapper to more of a swing away hitter. I love this. She said, I just said, give me one, please, just 1 home run. And instead she got 2.
Well, and I really believe elite athletes, like, they have never reached their ceiling, or they at least have the mentality that they've never reached their peak. Like, I think there's always more room to grow, always ways to reinvent yourself, get better than you've been before, and the great ones, they keep rising.
I think you would be able to know that better than anybody else, having played on not 1 or 2, but 3 Olympic teams.
Yes, and I was surrounded by the best, and I think that's the idea. We see these programs that are postseason, you hear that consistently from the athletes of just how really competitive they all are, but it's a matter of like pushing each other in practice every single day to get to your top.
It's probably a little bit different too for players who, you know, Indiana's got this core of seniors in the lineup who are going to view this postseason very differently than the underclassmen.
Yeah, and I think that's common, right? You have the people that set the tone, they have that postseason experience, and then they want those younger athletes to kind of jump on board, feel included, and like say, hey, this is the bar. We're all expecting everyone to raise it together.
6 of 8 NCAA titles. Florida State representing the only one in ACC history, and the Sooners 102 home runs this year, 6 straight with more than 100, a top 2 national seed for the 6th straight year. A dangerous team, and they're regional in Norman. It's Omaha, Cal, and Boston University. 3-2 lead presented to Bree Copeland with a couple of Taylor Minnick home runs. Megan Bloodworth, who comes in on a 4-game hitting streak, is retired on just 1 pitch. That completes the first time through the lineup for Bree Copeland. Shonda Stanton, the IU head coach, said she wants to see her get settled in early. How do you feel like she did 1 through 9?
Yeah, I think she's actually done a really nice job of moving the ball. I think obviously the mistake against Carly Godwin, I mean, she got all of that, but I think it's about how you respond after that, and she's done nicely.
Megan Delgadillo first pitch hunting, and Taylor Minnick makes quick work of that. So Copeland has really now settled in. That's 6 in a row. Retired after the Godwin homer.
Well, not only that, just limiting key passes. You know, the situation happened with Minnick in her first home run. Copeland got on because of the ball in the sun, but for Rosie Davis, it was a walk that set it up for it to be 2 runs and Godwin hit her home run.
Hassler's a big bat, though. The junior from Avon, Connecticut, started her career at North Carolina State. She started 103 of 105 games. And in February, Kenny Gajewski, her head coach, said that she has already surpassed all the expectations that he had for her. And the team home run leader this year in her first year in the league, first team all Big 12. Line to right, it's a long run, but a great grab for Cassidy Kettleman, and the inning is over. Shonda Stanton's going to join us next as she gets on the headset. And we are in the 4th, and Ruby Malin coming off of a May 8th game where she went a complete game, just 2 earned runs against Arizona State. Today, 3 innings, 3 earned runs, all of them scoring on a pair of home runs from Taylor Minnick.
And I know she's been the ace of this team, but it is so important to be able to look to your staff and to know, hey, that we can come in and get the job done. And Malin not having her best day, we talked about her numbers, but also against a potent offense. And so I think it's important right now and a great opportunity for Crandall to really show what she's got.
Crandall's a first-year transfer from Baylor, spent 2 years in Waco. She was injured earlier this year, but she's allowed more than 1 earned run in just 1 of her last 11 appearances. In those 11 games, ERA just above 2. And it's Natalie Van Brandt going to the opposite field with a leadoff base hit.
And Coach Stanton talked about just trying to make pitchers be a two-pitch pitcher to where like they were going to sit and look. In this situation, this ball again elevated, and they keep their hands up, but we've seen hitters just being able to stay through it, not lifting too much, but just being able to get enough to poke that to left field. So nice piece of hitting by Van Brandt.
Can you explain more about that, what she means about turning pitchers into two-pitch pitchers?
Well, I think the importance is that we are going to actually pick our pitch. We're actually looking only, and if we can stay in our zone and make sure we're hitting the strikes, but on the pitches that we pick, then I think you start to have more success. You cannot go up thinking, okay, looking up, down. I mean, obviously, they know the drop ball off of Malin was usually her best pitch, maybe not today. And then that rise ball, so they might have picked one of them and said, hey, I'm going to locate that and then get 2 strikes, and maybe I'll look for that second one.
Well, especially against a pitcher like Malin, you twist yourself into a pretzel trying to hit both of those pitches.
And it really, as hitters, it just comes down to it. It's important to pick your strength as well, and not, you know, only go to the pitcher's strength. But everybody has the scouting reports, the analytics, the game footage that they can watch and kind of see where your strengths and weaknesses are. So I think as hitters, that's why you've got to be so well-rounded.
I love a challenge.
The Hoosiers have been excellent, patient at the plate. 5 3-ball counts. And that evens it up 3-2. Strader with a chop, and they just get one on the force out for Van Brandt at second base. First time that Oklahoma State has played Indiana since 2009, with the Cowgirls leading the all-time series 11-3. Experienced Hoosiers group, bringing back 7 of 9 starters from last year. So yes, the offensive numbers are eye-popping, but also last year they led the Big Ten in scoring, in average, in OPS, and stolen bases on top of that.
Well, it's the elevated pitches that we've been seeing get hit the hardest here. And so you've really got to make sure either that ball has a lot of late break on it, or it has to be kind of a waste pitch, because otherwise that's the ball that is going out.
And the wind has been whipping here since early this morning in Northwest Arkansas.
When I talk about, you know, against hitters, people having scouting reports, but I really think it's actually harder these days for pitchers, because almost every staff has pitchers that can throw. Coach Stanton was talking about their staff and said Kendra Kirchhoff, she can throw any pitcher that we're going to face, she can throw that pitch. And preparation is just so much better these days for hitters.
And the ability for us, not having the same technology as what the teams do, we can go in pitch by pitch and watch any pitch thrown throughout the course of the season. What's the count? What's the pitch type, to be able to break that down? So they've got even deeper analytics than that, because there are third-party companies out there that you pay to do that kind of stuff. And so you have to really be in constant, not reinvention mode, but always being ready to tweak what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. You got to find new ways to be able to get hitters out. And it is hard, because you still have your strength usually that you go to. And as hitters, I think the harder part, that's why the second time around, third time around, hitters are usually more successful, because once you've seen something, it's that much easier. And so if you can see it before you play them, even better.
Big spot here for Sydney Burko. Getting the start at third base this afternoon, her first since late March. 0 for 1, grounded out to second base back in the second inning. But 2 runners aboard here, and with the green light that Shonda Stanton has shown at third base, anything that touches the grass could be a run. That's deep to center field. Delgadillo on the retreat makes the grab, Strader tags and advances the 60 feet to give the Hoosiers runners at the corners with 2 away.
Yeah, it's a good decision. That ball, as soon as Delgadillo was going back on that ball, you go back to the bag and you tag and you get to third base.
The speedy Wilkeson 0 for 1. And they recognize her speed, pulling the corners in.
And this is the hitter you want to get. If you're Riley Crandall, you definitely don't want to get to the top of the lineup with Copeland. This is the 9 hitter. This is the one that you want to allow your defense to play behind you and make the out.
Pitch is high, and there's trouble on the base paths. The throw to third is not in time as Strader's back in headlong. Josie Bird got caught in between first and second there. And Oklahoma State played that well, because if they don't, that could very easily turn into the 4th run of the day.
Yeah, and you do want to play that well. There's already 2 outs. You want to make sure that you're not going to allow anything to happen for that run to come across.
And at first base, Bird is in back safely again, so they're daring Oklahoma State to throw down.
Well, and that's the right play right there defensively. I like the fact that they just saw the same exact thing happen, but try to get. Bird does not have speed on first base. And so right now, all they're trying to do is make something happen to be able to allow Strader to come across, but that's a great defensive way to make that play.
2-2, Wilkeson giving a ride out toward left field. Out of here! A 3-run home run for Wilkeson. An incredible afternoon at Bogle Park for the Hoosiers. 6-2 Indiana over Oklahoma State.
When you're feeling so confident, when your number 9 hitter is able to come up in this situation, and I'll tell you, her first swing and miss was a hack, and this one right there, she just connects. I mean, this pitch over the plate, but I love the fact that Wilkeson was ready for it. She connected with that pitch. She got all of it. Way too much ball over the plate, but what a response by Wilkeson.
And that brings up the 2nd best home run hitter in Hoosiers history, Bree Copeland. This is a 1 off the career mark, or 2 now I should say, from Taylor Minnick, who's gone yard twice today. What a start to this game. Shonda Stanton said it, there's still a lot of ball game left.
Oh, Wilkeson, I mean, just you see that stride that she has, but ultimately it's just about getting to contact and being on time, and she does that, and that ball was gone. You know, for a 9 hitter, like I felt like that her first swing, I was like, okay, that was a big hack. And she missed it, but then to see that, I mean, you want to take that. You're given that situation. 2 runners on, 2 outs. What a swing.
7th homer this year for the Ohio State transfer. Inside to Copeland, it's 2-2. You're right, that first swing, watching it, you think, all right, it's understandable. Your blood's pumping a little bit faster. There's runners at the corners. There's 2 out, but boy, did she deliver in the biggest possible way. Minnick with a couple of homers, Wilkeson with 1 as well, and Copeland gets the count to 3-2. And this is all, by the way, after knocking Ruby Malin, first team unanimously, all Big 12, out of the game. They have worked deep counts. And Copeland does it to her benefit, a free pass. So she's reached base now 2 times in 3 plate appearances. And it brings Taylor Minnick up for the 3rd time, a perfect 2 for 2 with her 17th and 18th home runs of the season, making Indiana history in the process.
Well, all I know is you cannot elevate the pitch whatsoever against Minnick.
Well, I think the question is always, how do you pitch to her? But now it's just underlined and bolded with the way that she started this game.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, it's these extra runs when the home runs are being hit that are making the difference.
Shonda Stanton going pinch runner at first base. The freshman Hannah Haberstroh steps in at first for Bree Copeland to pinch run. Pitch closer to the zone than the first to Minnick in this plate appearance, but still 2-0.
Well, with both of her home runs being in right field, although the first one was an outside pitch, I think that's the best spot if your opportunity getting her out is that low outside corner.
And they're willing to live with that if she gets a base hit that way, especially with the shift they have on against her with 3 infielders on the right side.
Well, sometimes when you are a right-handed pitcher against a lefty hitter, if you can really move that backdoor curve, that's an effective pitch because of the break coming in. Looks like it's going to be outside. It might catch the outside corner.
And Minnick still finds a way to get good contact on it, but a diving grab. No, Delgadillo didn't make the catch in center field. And Minnick is in safely at second base. Delgadillo immediately signals for a replay review challenge because to the naked eye, it looked like she made that catch. And it's second and third for the Hoosiers here with 2 down. So we've seen one challenge today. Indiana was unsuccessful on a put out at the plate. And the umpires are going to converge here. They still can overturn this call after this quartet converges behind the circle. That was Michael Parker, the umpire at second base, making the call out there in center field. So this may get changed without having to go to replay review, and that would be big for the Cowgirls because it would end the inning. Who's hit 11 home runs, come up to the plate next, a 401 hitter entering play today. Delgadillo, as speedy as they come out there in center field. Not many would get to that ball the way that she did. Shonda Stanton's ticket to the conversation, not valid for entry just yet.
Yeah, she's out there trying to talk to the umpires. I mean, what a hard hit ball by Minnick. Just another really well-struck ball, but great play by Delgadillo, looking like she came up with it.
So they're going to go explain this to Kenny Gajewski, the head coach for Oklahoma State. I have a feeling, however this gets ruled on the field, somebody's going to challenge it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you have to in this situation.
All right, survey says
Oklahoma is challenging the no catch on the field.
Well, by omission of the word state, it just made some fans angry. So Delgadillo, not a catch out there in center field. It's runners at second and third right now. And get a look at this. This is a zoomed in view on Delgadillo. Oh, and it gets a little snow cone action there as she comes down to the turf.
Yeah, and I think the idea is going to be, did the ball stay in her glove? It looked, when in live action and she caught that, it looked like she had just made that catch and got it underneath it. And I think the idea is, did it come out at all? But it looks like it stayed.
And the difficulty when you're making the challenge of the call on the field, is that it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn that call. And so the question here is, does she retain control of that ball as it goes to the ground, or does she lose control, thus making it a base hit?
And she jumped up right away and was saying to her coach, review this because I caught that ball.
It's a little bit analogous to the situation when in college or pro football, the wide receiver makes a catch, they go to the ground and the ball touches the ground, but did they retain firm control of that ball?
Yes.
And that may be part of this review question here. Nevertheless, though, this has been a big inning already for Indiana. 3-run home run from their number 9 hitter, Melina Wilkeson, on a blast out to left center field. Their 3rd home run of the game, and we're only 3 2/3 in here for them in their at-bats. Taylor Minnick has been the star. Her line drive to center field is the subject of replay review. 2 home runs for her, a 2-run home run in the first against Ruby Malin, and then a solo shot in the third, becoming the first Indiana player ever with a multi-home run game in the NCAA tournament. Well, we couldn't have any better timing because when we go to the bottom of the 4th, we're going to get to talk to Kenny Gajewski, the Oklahoma State head coach, and get an inside look on all of the deliberations ongoing here in the top of the 4th inning. So our second replay review of the game, Indiana lost their challenge in Oklahoma State.
The ruling on the field of no catch has been upheld.
And so Taylor Minnick is 3 for 3 with 3 extra base hits. Each team with 1 challenge left. And Minnick in her senior season continues a record afternoon, not only in the IU record books, but for herself.
Yeah, talk about having a day. Postseason is all about who can advance, stay alive, and Taylor Minnick is one of the reasons Indiana will be able to do that if they can pull out wins and try to continue through this postseason journey.
Avery Parker in the 3 spot is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. It's a Hoosier squad that last year got sent to Columbia, Missouri, went 0-2 against Washington and Mizzou. 2 years ago, their first postseason appearance in 12 years, went to Knoxville and went 1-2, only a win over Louisville. And that 2023 team had one of the best players in the country, Taryn Kern, who was a freshman. The biggest difference, they said, from that team to this team is it is a more well-rounded team, and we're really seeing that here today.
Yeah, and I think it's important to be able to have those seasons to be able to look to different people throughout the lineup to get the job done. I think players feel it. I think they almost have a little more ownership, not like the other teammates were not working hard when she was on the team, but I just think you do have a little more ownership and investment into it, believing you can do it too.
Avery Parker, the 8th batter of the inning, skies this out toward left field, and all does not go quietly, and she takes the first pitch and turns it into a base hit as that breaks up a string of 7 in a row retired by Bree Copeland. Don't miss a minute of the action from the NCAA softball regionals. We are merely one of 16 sites around the country, and we've got the best live coverage on 7 innings live on the ESPN app. Every game, every big moment on the road to the Women's College World Series here on the ESPN networks. Chris Budden, Tori Vidalis, Tara Henry carrying you through the action. I know when we get done at the end of the day, of course there are games out on the West Coast. That's where I'm at. I can't keep track of everything by myself. 7 innings live is the place to be. 6-2 Indiana atop Oklahoma State. Carly Godwin responsible for those 2 runs with her 6th home run of the year back in the first inning.
Well, I think it's important, you know, this inning to be able to shut down Oklahoma State's offense, because after that first inning and her team going up, Copeland came back and gave up a home run.
That is given a ride to center field, and it is gone. Carly Godwin's second two-run home run of the season. As if by prophecy, Kenny Gajewski said we need to start swinging the bats, and they did from the cleanup spot.
That kid's sitting in the right spot out there. And that is a response after coach gives you a talk and says, what are you going to do about it and how are you going to respond? And that pitch, I mean, just chest high. Godwin gets all of it. That's what you do as a hitter if you're given that pitch right there. And I was trying to say it's about your response, and that was the response. You're facing the 3-4 hitter. Godwin got the home run in her last at bat. And that's you got to see, what are you going to do? Can you mix it up? And she wasn't able to in that situation.
It's Claire Tim with nobody out, nobody on. Oklahoma State, led by Kenny Gajewski, now in his 10th season, 5 straight trips to the World Series and 15 straight wins here in this round of the postseason. Before the season and after the regular season is over, they get away for a little bit, do a team retreat. And so at the start of the season, well, really the academic year, back in October, they go away for a couple of days and they put together a theme for the year. And that theme was about fire and keeping a fire lit throughout the course of the season. And one of the things they realized during the regular season for the team that was picked to win the Big 12 and ended up finishing 4th was that they had let that fire go out a little bit. And so they had a postseason retreat after their earlier than expected exit from the Big 12 championship, going 0-1, losing to Arizona State. And they got away for a couple of days. And not only did they talk about relighting that fire metaphorically, they literally did it. And for 48 straight hours, when they got away, the team kept a fire going. And everybody worked in shifts all the way through the night. And they did it intentionally. All these groups were different players every time, so they got to spend time with people that they may not throughout the course of the regular season. So not only literally, but metaphorically relighting their fire here for the postseason.
Yeah, and he talked about you need 3 things in order for the fire to burn and to keep burning. And he said it was fuel, spark, and oxygen. And he's like, so we need to figure out on our team, who is the fuel? Who's going to be that spark? And then who's going to be the oxygen that keeps it going? And he felt like they really embraced that and took it upon themselves to keep that fire going as a team.
2 straight groundouts over to second base after the 2-run homer by Godwin. And Tia Warsup coming up 0 for 1. And you can tell that those abilities to get away for these players really mean a lot to them, because it's very easy. I think it's a good comparison to adult life too, is you get into the routine of things and all of a sudden days, weeks, months have passed you by and you go, where did the time go? And the season can very much be that way too, because there are so few days off. You play a midweek Tuesday or Wednesday, a 3-game series during the weekend. Oh yeah, you got to go to school and have some semblance of a social life. And for them to be able to reset, especially in a day and age where so much of life happens on the rectangle you're holding in your hands, life is HD right in front of you. And they got to experience that together away from the rest of the world for a couple of days. It's a long run and left. Kinsey Mitchell 0 for 2 to lead it off. And strokes it right to Delgadillo, who squeezes the glove for out number 1. And Indiana came into this game getting 368. 5 extra base hits, 10 total bases for Taylor Minnick with the 2 home runs and a double.
And that off speed, nicely placed. You saw how far in front of that pitch Van Brandt was, so I will not be surprised to see that start to be mixed in more.
Fouled away to get to 0-2. And it's a new battery here as well. Well, not entirely, but at catcher, Audrey Schneidmiller takes over. A redshirt junior from Burleson, Texas. So we've seen a pitching change and now a catching change on the Oklahoma State side of things. She replaces Amanda Hassler, who was 0-2 at the plate. Well, Van Brandt went up reaching for a pitch. 2 up and 2 down for Crandall. All eyes on Juan Soto for this week's Sunday Night Baseball matchup. It'll be the Subway Series finale between Soto and the Mets. Aaron Judge and the Yankees. First pitch, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. And our coverage starts 6 Eastern with Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. Juan Soto said his matchup against the Yankees is going to be 1 versus 50,000 after his departure from the Bronx to go across the city to Queens, signing a 15-year contract to play for the New York Mets. Quick word with the head coach from Madeline Strader, the shortstop today. She's walked grounded into a fielder's choice. .425 at the plate for the freshman this year. Shauna Stanton, her head coach, told us part of what's allowed her to adapt so quickly to the college level, which is not easy because everybody's coming from being the best player on whatever team they were before to now being one of many, but is that the expectations were not all-encompassing for Strader. You're coming into a team that's gone to the postseason 2 straight years, now making it 3 straight this year, that has its established stars. So come in, do your job, and it just so happens she's done it exceedingly well.
Yeah, I think that's what you need to do. You match that standard that's set, and it's nice to see those athletes come in and make an immediate impact. I feel like Crandall's getting settled in nicely. Earlier pitches are off speed, now coming with that backdoor curve that I think really to lefties is a great pitch to throw and hard to hit.
And a nice recovery here in this inning after facing 8 batters in the Kilfoyle. Was an All-American last year for the Pokes. And Rachel Hathoot grounds out here to start the 5th for Oklahoma State after they put 2 on the board last inning in the 4th. Second 2-run homer of the day for Carly Godwin. It's double elimination format here in the postseason. Second game of the day here will be the host, a number 4 national seed Arkansas, taking on St. Louis. The winner of this game faces the winner of that game, but teams that lose today, they've got another chance at redemption tomorrow to play in an elimination game. Shallow to right. And Kettleman, wisely, the sunglasses on, puts that away. We saw the first ball in play of the game. Bree Copeland was the first batter for the Hoosiers, popped it up to second base. Rosie Davis lost it in the sun. So sunglasses certainly are the wise choice this afternoon.
Yeah, I think this is a really important out. 2 outs right now. You need to make sure you keep Delgadillo off the bases.
And they have so far. She's 0 for 2, struck out looking in the first. And the first pitch she saw last time up in the 3rd, flied out to Minnick in left field.
We see her a little more patient, like you mentioned, swinging at that first pitch and one pitch out. And so this time I think it's an adjustment you have to make. Your leadoff hitter in this situation, there are 2 outs, but her speed can really make things happen. And I like that idea. Even if she wasn't going to lay that ball down, you're making the corners move a little bit, maybe come in and give you a little more space on defense.
Delgadillo, the grad transfer from Cal State Fullerton. Just a different shade of orange this year from what she wore with the Titans. Back in her home state, making the move to Oklahoma. And she could beat this out with her speed, but Strader rockets it over to first and pulls Bird off the bag. That's what speed does. It makes everybody play at a different velocity. And so Delgadillo is on for the first time, which also allows Oklahoma State to bring Hassler back in. She re-enters their home run leader and represents the tying run in this game.
Yeah, in that situation, because that ball was just miss-hit just enough, it gave time for Delgadillo to move, and that throw had to be perfect.
So a second chance for Strader, who just has to 2 years ago, and end the second longest active winning streak in the regional round, which belongs to Oklahoma State at 15 straight. And Leah, I'll give you one guess who's got the longest streak in the country.
Maybe the 4-time in a row national champs?
Is your alma mater?
Oh.
Arizona.
Okay. That's really?
I tried to tee it up.
You did try to tee it up, and I'm thinking
but
current.
I think you made the guess that everybody else would have made too.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my Wildcat people.
Shallow out toward right. Davis is called off by Warsaw.
That right field side. I mean, you saw Rosie Davis. Not too sure, but as an outfielder, you have always got to be able to take that. You come in hard, anything you can catch in front of you is so much easier than a player having to go back.
Tia Warsep told us yesterday how much she has been invigorated as a player, as a person, by Megan Delgadillo this year too. Graduate transfer coming in from Cal State Fullerton, whose nickname is Cheese, which actually she got by accident because the players on a travel ball team thought that she was somebody else, but she smiles so much that the nickname just stuck because it's really appropriate. And Davis has all dominion over that one for the second out of the inning. But Tia Warsep there on the right side said, I was just so quiet last year. I hardly talked to anybody. People thought that I didn't like them because I wouldn't talk. And Megan Delgadillo got her out of her shell in her second season.
And she said it's been the best thing ever. She said, you know, people wouldn't even recognize me now. I used to be so shy, even around my teammates. And I think that's what leadership does. Megan Delgadillo doing so many different things for this program, stepping in and immediately making an impact.
Wilkeson 1 for 2 with a home run. Looking to bunt her way aboard here with 2 out. And Riley Crandall trying to make it back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings. Hoping to hold serve and give the offense another opportunity to get back from this 2-run deficit with just 2 more trips to the plate for the Cowgirls.
And I think it took just a little bit of time that first inning, Riley Crandall coming in and getting settled in, but I feel like these last couple innings, she's really locating her pitches right where she wants them, getting good break on the ball.
Oh, and you've got to think that the way this day started, not to say she wasn't ready, but she probably didn't think she'd be pitching in the 4th inning with Ruby Malin making the start.
Yeah, especially that quick in the game, but I like the fact that she came in and Coach had a talk with his team after that big inning for Indiana, and it seems like they've kind of switched momentum.
They've got the lineup Oklahoma State does exactly where they want it, bottom half of the 6th, with 3, 4, and 5 due up. Payoff pitch will happen again.
She's using that curveball to both sides, setting up away, then tries to do backdoor curve. So good pitch calling right now. As a hitter, you really got to see it out of her hand, which side of the plate that's going to be on, and be quick if it's on that inside corner.
Back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings, 7 in a row retired by Crandall, who has really
huge outs right now. She needs to be able to find a way to get them out.
Big pitch on a 3-1. And it's bobbled and dropped at the wall in center field. Wilkeson almost had a snow cone grab. And like the ball had a mind of its own, it leapt out of the leather.
Wow, and it almost looked like she was going to be able to come up with that, but through contact and hitting the wall, the ball is pushed out. So she does a good job. Might have been able to get back a little quicker and hit the wall, and then she probably had a better chance, but because she kind of drifted, I mean, it's easy to say that ball's hanging a long time, and the idea is you want to be able to find that fence, but just that contact is what knocks it out of her glove.
Copeland remains stoic through it all, facing the biggest threat she has today. Carly Godwin, who last time up hit a 2-run home run straight over the center field wall, and a 2-run home run in the first inning as well, represents the tying run. Cowgirls down 2.
Well, and first base is open right now, so I'm a little surprised that the best hitter right now, the only one that has taken it out of the ballpark 2 times, they're going at her.
Especially when you look at the results of the batters that have followed her. Tim, Edwards, Worsup, Hathoot, and Bloodworth are a combined 0 for 10. Two-one. And that gets away from Parker, and now the decision to pitch to her looks a little bit more dubious, especially given what she's done on the day.
Well, I think the same situation, that home run right there, just so much power through the ball. I know that she's seen it big. If they give her anything, it has got to stay down in the zone. Anything up is going out.
Well, chopper third base. Burko with a dive. She throws home and never had a chance to get the out at the plate. I don't know that she had an out anywhere on that ball, but without the wild pitch, there's no run coming across. This is a 1-run game, as Godwin never had the ball leave the infield off her bat.
Well, and you definitely feel momentum switch right now to Oklahoma State. This ground ball, it's really a nice snag by Burko at third, but I'm with you. I don't think she had a chance at all to make the play at home, possibly the play at first.
So Godwin comes through, 6-5 the score, and a pinch runner, Macy Graff, takes over at first base for Godwin.
Well, now that pass ball really becomes the difference maker in that situation, because had she still been on second base, Davis doesn't score on that ground ball.
Kenny Gajewski makes his move. Shonda Stanton not making a move here, more so a monologue out in the circle to try and get her team back on track after Carly Godwin ties her career high with 5 runs batted in this game. WNBA starts its 29th season tonight, and we've got a pair of games for you tomorrow on ABC, ESPN+, and Disney+. The defending champs from New York host Asia Wilson and the Aces at 1 Eastern. Caitlin Clark and the Fever host Angel Reese and the Sky. Coverage starts with WNBA Countdown at 12:30.
And, you know, I just want to go back to when Rosie Davis was on second base. I feel like the option to put Carly Godwin on first base was absolutely there, and you wonder that if they had kind of intentionally walked her in that situation had the pass ball not happened.
And Audrey Schneidmiller is the batter here. She came on as a defensive replacement earlier in the game for Amanda Hassler and slots into the DP spot where Claire Tim was 0 for 2. Got to be careful over there at first base. Graf had drifted a little bit, not quite 30 feet towards second, but a pretty good margin up the baseline.
Well, in execution, postseason, being able to lay down the bunt, so important. And now as a hitter, what you do in this situation, you have 2 strikes. You've got to find a way to get on top of the ball. Your entire job is to move your runner to second base and to sacrifice yourself.
Ball in the dirt. Tim is on the run. Throw is not in time.
Well, as soon as this ball is in the dirt, Graf takes off, and she's going to take that all day. You love that on offense. You're the tying run. Both of these ball clubs known for just how aggressive they are on the base path. They got speed. They're going to take advantage. You put anything in the dirt.
Tim gets credit for the stolen base. Another 2-2 pitch. Does not get the zone. That is through the right side. It's a base hit. Kettleman lost her footing, and Tim scores uncontested. From 4 down, the Cowgirls have rallied back to tie the game in the 6th.
What a great piece of clutch hitting right there, to be able to come up when your team needs it. Coming up big and being able to take the low outside pitch. That's exactly how you hit that. You take it with it to right field. Nice piece of hitting. That is absolutely huge to be able to tie up this ball game. Nice effort by Van Brandt at second base, not able to come up with that ball.
There's Chanda Bell, the pitching coach for Indiana, and it is a pitching change as well. Taylor Hess, the left-hander, is going to take over here with the bottom part of the lineup coming up, and we are tied at 6. Indiana, Oklahoma State, even, bottom of the 6th.
Every dream for your future starts with a plan. But at Corbridge Financial, we know it takes more. It takes...
With Schneidmiller over at first base. It was relatively smooth sailing the last couple of innings for Copeland. She gave up the 2-run home run to Godwin in the 4th inning, then retired the next 3 batters, faced just 4 batters in the 5th. But here an error on a fly ball to center field, a ball in the dirt, and all of a sudden Oklahoma State takes advantage.
Yeah, and you just felt that momentum shift. I really feel like even though Indiana was on top, when Riley Crandall started shutting out the side, I feel like it shifted. And you know, you saw that response after Coach Gajewski had that talk with his team. Although they were down in runs, you just almost felt like a response from these athletes.
To the circle. And Hess gets the sure thing over at first base, 1 down. Still a runner in scoring position. Oklahoma State come all the way back to tie it. And it's a new right fielder as well. Kinsey Mitchell started the game as the DP. Now last ball out to right field off the bat of Carly Godwin, or rather from Audrey Schneidmiller. We saw a bit of a stumble in right field from Kettleman. And so Shonda Stanton makes the defensive change as well. Michaela Wark pinch hitting now for Tia Worsup. In the 7th spot where Worsup, the sophomore, was 0 for 2. Wark's got power, 8 home runs, 2nd most on the team.
And I like this move because you have the power in Wark, and if she gets on, you can go ahead and put Worsup in for her if she does reach base safely.
After a slow start, the one hit in those first 2 innings was a Carly Godwin 2-run homer that went down 1-2-3 in the 2nd and the 3rd, and they have come to life there in the latter frames. Wark gets the count in her favor, 3-1.
Well, I think it's huge to respond like that, to be able to get back into this game and tie it up, and to be able to say, hey, you guys, like, we're not going to go down without a fight, and showing what we really have. And you talk about lighting that fire. We talked about, you know, them getting away in their retreat and them getting the fire stoked and going and staying burning. And sometimes it's just like, okay, what was that spark? And, you know, it just took putting together a few hits.
3-2, it's up the middle, it's into center field. Wilkeson is up with a throw that gets away at home plate. But then the stop sign goes up at 3rd for Schneidmiller, who thought she might come home. And Kenny Gajewski, a little bit disappointed that it didn't lead to a run. Still only 1 out in the inning, but there were quick decisions that had to be made there on both sides.
Yeah, and you have to be willing to go. And in that situation, I mean, he's saying back, 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 and then, then he's saying go, go, go. And you know what? I'll tell you, it's a split decision. Like, if you do not get a hop right off the bat, then you stay and you play it safe. And so I think at the end of the day, she made the right choice to stay.
Goes down as a single and an error behind the plate. And Tia Worsup, who was pinch hit for there by Wark, re-enters to run at 2nd base. So still plenty of opportunity here. Rachel Hathout bats with 1 out and 2 on. It's on the ground to short. Strader air mails it to home, and Oklahoma State scores twice. Incredible! And the Cowgirls have the lead. It's 8-6 on a ball that never left the infield.
Well, Oklahoma State, they have a ton of speed. They are aggressive. And in this situation, you know that they are going. Defense is in. Shortstop Strader, we talked about that. The fact that she's normally at 3rd base. In this situation, only a freshman in this moment might have gotten too big for her. She launches that ball over Parker's head, and 2 runs come across. That's where you put Worsup back in to run her speed. She comes around and scores that 2nd.
Early. This is their 2nd challenge.
Believe that we just heard that Indiana is challenging that a runner left early. This is an absolute Hail Mary challenge here by Indiana to try and nullify the results of that play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a situation where you're thinking, is there any way, some way that we could get a change to what just happened? And the only way would be if someone stepped off a bag early and they took it away. But I think the softball world will be shocked if this call turns.
And when we talk about things changing, in the last couple of innings, Indiana has committed 3 errors.
Yeah, and this has really been their Achilles heel, is defense. Just coming up and making a lot of errors and not being able to play solid defense. And I think it, you know, we saw Shonda Stanton saying, hey, we might have to put Strader at shortstop. And although she's played 3rd for them, you could tell there was just this, okay, if we have to, it's going to make us a little bit weaker on defense, but you still got to come up and make solid plays.
And this should be very quick replay review. Looking at that there, it doesn't look like anybody left early.
No.
But why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah,
From
you
Shauna
have,
Stanton's perspective,
you get
if you
two-
can take the runs off the board.
absolutely, and she's already taken one, and it did not.
So a couple of factors. You just talked about one, Strader replacing Alex Cooper at shortstop, an injury for the player who has started at short for the latter half of this season. But two, it's 3 errors in the last couple of innings, including one that started this inning out in center field on a ball to the outfield. Wilkeson tracks it down, it bounces out of her glove. And so back from the central replay review location, here's the call.
The ruling on the field has been upheld. The runner left on time. That is Indiana's second and final challenge.
So not surprising at all that that's the outcome there. Think about how drastically this game has changed. 2 batters in, Oklahoma State down 2-0. A couple innings later, they're down 4 runs, and now they may not even have to bat in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, what a shift that can happen so fast. And I feel like this game, you can never count anyone out, and that's why every pitch matters, every at-bat matters, and even people coming in different positions to come in as a new pitcher, you got to do your job, and defense right now is what's breaking down for Indiana.
So the run total continues to rise here in innings 4, 5, and 6 for Oklahoma State. Kenny Gajewski said, not the season we drew up, but the season we earned. And they have worked their way into this advantage here. And how about this? Aggression on the base paths. Hadhoot swipes third. You get a shell-shocked opponent and keep on battering.
Absolutely. Right now, I think that's what you do. You continue to put the pressure on because right now they are on their heels, and you've got to keep doing it, make them make mistakes.
So now she can score from third on a ground ball. Just 0-1 to Bloodworth, the number 9 hitter, hitless in 2 tries. Oklahoma State 3 for 4 with runners in scoring position, all here in this inning. Bloodworth, the 7th in orange and white to step into the batter's box. And that came in and got her. So it's first and third now. And there may be no more motivated batter today than the hitless Megan Delgadillo, Oklahoma State's leadoff hitter.
Yes. You know, usually she is the one that is the spark at the top of the lineup, and today has not been able to find a way to reach base. But I think in these situations, once your team gets it going for you, like, you're going to feel like, okay, it's contagious. It's my turn now. And honestly, she is overdue.
And you can't rule out a bunt here either.
No, you cannot.
And there it is. She pushes it right to the circle. It nets the Cowgirls another run, and she will happily stay hitless to bolster their advantage to a 3-run cushion.
Absolutely. In that situation, your swing is not working. You lay down a bunt, and it's a run. And so just really good execution in this situation. That is one of her specialties, is using the short game, and they do it with a runner on third. They have speed. And that's another run for your team. You got to love that type of execution in that situation. You helped your team out.
What a comeback. What an afternoon for Oklahoma State. Delgadillo with the sacrifice bunt, picks up the RBI. And Amanda Hassler has waited patiently, batted 9 of the inning. A 15-game regional winning streak on the line for the Cowgirls. They will go to the 7th inning with at least a 4-run advantage. We told you earlier in the day that when they give up 6 runs this year, they have won exactly 1 time, once. And they'll be 3 outs away from making it 2.
Yeah, and I think it's just so important. It's like once they broke through and they had that momentum and started stringing together some hits and then forced some mistakes by Indiana, now all of a sudden you just feel that momentum is on your side and you just keep building it. And you've got to try to put together as many runs as you can. They're doing a nice job of that.
Chandabell, the pitching coach, will turn the reins over to Janae Berry, the freshman. So Indiana, Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State has control right now, but with the way the Hoosiers have swung the bat today, top of the 7th, there's bound to be some fireworks. So the winner of this game, whoever that may be, will play tomorrow at noon.
A lot of growth can happen if you can find a way to take the momentum back. You want to do everything you can to just give your team one more chance to get back in this game.
So try to get them out of the inning with the second plate appearance of the 6th coming up here for Rosie Davis.
Well, Barry's going to be a lot slower as well. She's going to be high 50s and low 60s, much more of a spin pitcher. So we'll see if she can just take something off of it to see if they can get some defense behind her. I think that's important if your defense, and this is where I think, Mike, we talk about defense and being young out there. You have a freshman at third base in Burko, a freshman at shortstop right now with Strader, freshman at first base in Bird. And so they're young out there, and you've got to be able to pull it together.
So Davis with 2 out. She scored 3 of their 10. So all the teams get into town. They meet with the media yesterday. They sit up on the podium. And Rosie Davis, with the juxtaposition of the way she said what she said and the words she said, legitimately made me laugh out loud yesterday. She said she wants to destroy her opponents, and she destroys that ball off the wall in left center field. It's a double, and it's second and third. She may be about as soft-spoken as they come, but as she flosses at second base, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, when we talked to her yesterday, you saw all that confidence, and she's just continuing to lead with her bat on base every single at bat, like you mentioned, coming across 3 different times so far and seeing it so well. This is what you want to do, all smiles there. It feels good when you're helping your team out and giving yourself more opportunities now.
Rosie Davis takes well outside for ball 1. Or Carly Godwin, beg your pardon.
Well, now they're staying away. You have first base open again.
But really the trajectory of this inning changed because they chose to pitch to her at the start of this inning.
Yeah, I agree. It changed everything. In this situation, we see Barry staying away, and they're clearly walking Godwin in this situation. That one got a little closer.
That was a pitch worth thinking about. Yeah. Nevertheless, it's ball 4 and the bases are loaded.
Yeah, now again, you give your infield an opportunity to make a force out. A lot easier situation. You just got to try to be able to feed your defense and get that ball on the ground.
So 6 runs here in the inning. And for a team that did not have as much power as last year's did for Oklahoma State, this is the second most runs they've scored in an inning this season. Back on April 17th, they put up 7 against Big 12 opponent UCF. Nowhere to put Audrey Schneidmiller. 2-0 pitch. And it's 3-0. Cowgirls just 1 run shy of their season high as well. That is ball 4. So the highest scoring inning of the season, highest scoring game of the season in terms of 11 runs, 7 in this inning. And things have come unraveled for the Hoosiers.
Well, it's so important to be able to, in pressure situations, to be able to stop the bleeding, and that's what they are having a hard time doing, right? Obviously, it's a 3rd pitcher we've seen in this inning.
And there's no doubt at this point that the hitters coming up are going to wait for their pitch.
Yeah, absolutely, and you force them because all the pressure is on them, and that's what you want to do, and you want to force her to throw your best pitch too, one that she has to pipe.
Edwards with a slicer to left field. And the inning
In disguise for Oklahoma State. They know what they have in Ruby when she's pitching her best, but now they see what Crandall can bring.
Well, there's certainly a narrative surrounding Oklahoma State that there's not a lot of pitching depth behind Malin, but look at the body of work for Crandall. And the number is going to change a little bit today, but 1 of her last 11 appearances, she allowed more than 1 earned run. So she had been really solid in 10 of her last 11. And even today, the total statistical line will not tell the story of what she's meant for this team coming back.
Yeah, I agree. And they do have sophomore Katie Coots and junior Kyra.
Liner to short. Bloodworth couldn't